We're going to multiply polynomials, which are many terms. Terms are separated by plus and minus signs, by a monomial, which is one term. Again, terms are separated by plus and minus. So a monomial may have several letters and exponents, but as long as you don't have a plus or minus between them, you have one term. For the distributive property, everything in the parentheses gets multiplied by this number on the outside. So you're going to multiply the a times the b, so ab, plus, and then you'll multiply the a times the c, and that gives you ac. For multiplication property of exponents, b to the n times b to the n, if you write the base again, and this is multiplication, you add the exponents. A quick example of that would be something if I had x squared times x cubed. That would be x times xxx. So I have two x's multiplied together here, three more x's multiplied together, so a total of 5 x's are multiplied together on that. For example 1, I would multiply everything in the parentheses by this 2. So 2 times the x, then plus 2 times the 4. You might be able to just skip that middle step in between them after you work a few of these. So that gives you 2x plus 8. On the next example, I'll have 7 times the c, then minus 7 times the 5, and that will give me 7c minus 35 for my final answer. For the next one, I have b times 3b squared. I'm going to write b squared as bb plus b times 5b. And I'm okay if you skip this middle step. This gives me 3, you put your coefficient first, and then I have a b times a b times a b, so that's b to the third. A faster way to do that, this exponent is 1, this exponent is 2, and they both have the same base, so I can add those exponents, so 1 plus 2 would give me the b cubed. And then I have 5b squared. Again, that had b to the first, that had b to the first, so if I add 1 plus 1, that gives me the b squared here. On example 4, this will be negative 3g times 8. And then I have minus negative 3g times 2g. And the minus times that minus, notice this will become a plus. First term is negative 24g. And the next term is plus 3 times 2 is 6g squared. Let's see if we can do one without the middle step. 4 times the 5 gives you 20. Then I have m squared times m to the third, so m cubed, and that's going to give me a total of 5 m's. I have 2 m's here multiplied together, 3 m's here multiplied together. So in all, I have 5 m's multiplied together, and I can write that as m to the 5th. Plus 4 times 2 is 8. M squared, this is m to the first, so I have a total of 3 m's multiplied together. And then my last is going to be negative 1 times that 4m squared, so that just gives me negative 4m squared. On the next one, I have a negative on the outside, so negative 1. I'm just going to write a negative. A to the 5th and a cubed, when I multiply those together, that's going to give me a to the 8th. B to the 8th times b squared, add 8 plus 2 and you get 10. Then I have a negative times a negative, which is going to be a plus 2. I have a to the 5th here. B to the 8th times b to the 1st, I have a total of 9 b's multiplied together. You add those exponents. On the next example, 1/3 times the 6, that's just the same thing as 6 divided by 3, so that's 2. And x times x squared, this is x to the 1st, you add those exponents, that's going to be x to the 3rd. 1/3 times the 24, that's the same thing as 24 divided by 3, so that just gives you 8. Now we're going to solve each of the equations on 8 and 9. I'm going to distribute my 2 into the parentheses. That gives me 10x minus 24. And then on the other side, multiply that out. That's negative 12x plus 18. This 2 is not in the parentheses, so you do not multiply it by the 6. Let's collect our like terms. On the right side, the 18 and 2 I can combine. That gives me 20. We're going to move our x's to one side and our numbers to the other. So add 12x to both sides. 22x minus 24 equals 20. My next step would be to add 24 to both sides. 22x equals 44, and x equals 2. You could check this in your calculator and see that it works. So let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to do 2, parentheses, 5 times 2 minus 12. That's the left side, and that's equal to negative 4. On the right side, I have 6 parentheses, negative 2 times x was 2, plus 3, and my parenthesis, plus 2. And the right side's negative 4. So negative 4 is equal to negative 4, so I know my solution does work. On example 9, I want to distribute my a. So a times a is a squared. Remember, these have exponents of 1. 1 plus 1 is 2. And then a times 2 is 2a plus 3a. And that is equal to a squared minus 3a. Multiply each of those by a. A times a is a squared. I have 2 of them multiplied together. And then a times minus 3 gives you minus 3. Notice that 8 is not in the parentheses, so you do not multiply the 8 by the a. If I subtract a squared from both sides, a squared, take away a squared, I don't have any a squareds left, so those will cancel. 2a plus 3a is 5a, and that's equal to negative 3a plus 8. Let's move our a's to one side, so I'm going to add 3a to both sides. 8a equals 8. Divide both sides by 8, and a is equal to 1. If you're unsure if you got it right, it's a good idea to check. Even if you are sure that you got it right, it's always a good idea to check. So on the right or the left side, I have 1 parenthesis 1 plus 2 plus 3 times 1. That's the left side, and that's equal to 6. On the right side, I have 1 parenthesis 1 minus 3. And then on the outside of the parentheses, I have a plus 8. And 6 does equal 6, so I know I got it correct. Our last example, I want to find the area of the shaded region in the picture. To just describe it, notice there are squares here. They have both sides. The big one has 2x and 2x, and this has x and x. Probably should put that these are at right angles in here, but they are. And so the area of the shaded region is equal to the area of the big square minus the area of the small square. So the area of the big square, remember area for a square or rectangle, you just take the length times the width. In this case, the length and width are the same. So sometimes they'll just do the area of the square as the side square. So it's going to be 2x times 2x. Minus the area of the small square, and it has sides x and x, so it's going to be x times x. So this is the big, and this is the small. So the area of the big square is 4, 2 times 2, x times x gives you x squared, and the area of the small square is just going to be x squared. And when I combine those, 4x squared minus 1x squared, I get 3x squared. This will complete our notes.